a moisturizer system for superyachts. A shipyard I've been mispronouncing for 20 years. And an Australian couple who changed the future of a yacht builder. All of that coming up at Moonen Yachts. To most people in the yachting industry, Moonen is a well-known but often mispronounced name that's associated with a very distinguished and distinguishable product lineup. While most of the well-known brands from this part of the world have built their reputation offering the highest of quality in some truly enormous superyachts, Moonen aimed for the same high standards in a more contained package. The Moonen 84, for example, was a great success for the shipyard, and these yachts can often be seen in cruising grounds around the world. The Moonen 97 too. These exquisitely built pocket superyachts have a cult following around the world. In this video, we'll be showing you the natural progression in this product line, the Moonen 110. As well as one of their hugely successful Martinique series of yachts close to completion. But first, let me give you an overview of the shipyard itself, located in the beautiful town of Hertogenbosch in the Netherlands. When you arrive at the Moonen facility, you enter a welcoming reception area, and it's not just the friendly smiles of commercial director Victor Caminada and head of marketing Femke Verheyen that make you feel immediately at home. The entire company has a genuinely family feel to it. Not surprising, considering that some of the original employees from when the company was founded over 40 years ago still work here. And many more have been here for decades. The main building houses administrative and commercial staff, along with a technical department that works very closely with Diana Yacht Design. Now, Diana are a well-respected Dutch design house that provides the naval architecture and engineering for the shipyard. To the right of the office building are two large sheds. We'll be looking at the yachts being fitted out in these sheds in a moment. But first, let's cross the car park to another building where the in-house cabinetry is created, and another two sheds line. Typically, Moonen will have 4 yachts in construction at any one time, with the hulls and superstructures of 2 being built, while the other 2 are being fitted out. But it is here in the fitting out sheds that we find the heart of Moonen yacht building. This is the Moonen Martinique. 3 of these yachts have been delivered and 6 have been sold. This one is hull number 4 and a great example of how Moonen take a pre-designed and engineered product and work with the client to customize it to a remarkable degree. In this case, the owner requested that his interior designer work with the shipyard for a bespoke interior, including this beautiful satin finished woodwork, rich marbles, and a 100-inch flat screen television set. The most extreme request of this owner, though, was to extend the entire yacht by 1.5 meters so that he could enjoy a larger water sports area. Quite a challenge, since the yacht was already in construction, and the extra length would also make the vessel slightly too big for the shed. Some shipyards would either simply say no to this request, or maybe worse still, say yes in their eagerness to get another yacht sold. Moonen made a cost and feasibility analysis, and they decided it would be possible, bringing the yacht outside of the shed to ensure the alignments was correct, and slightly extending the shed's working space. This is that extended swim platform, and as you can see, it's pretty impressive. But as is often the case, it's the unseen details here that reveal the quality of the yacht building. This cutout section here, for example, this is the housing for what's called a transformer, sometimes also called a Z-lift. Now that's a hydraulic extending unit that as it extends, steps come out, ending in a final platform. It's great to be able to access the dock. You can use it as a diving board. When it extends downwards, you can even use it as a swim ladder. Actually, more of a swim staircase, I would say. I've seen this kind of unit on quite a few yachts, and a criticism that's leveled against it sometimes by captains and by owners is it's not always reliable. It can stick in a particular position or sometimes just not work at all. Knowing that, Moonen researched the market, they researched the manufacturers, they found the most reliable, most robust, most dependable builder, and that's what they ordered for this yacht. It won't surprise you to hear it cost a little bit more than the competing units, but Moonen didn't want to put this on the yacht just to have a fancy gadget to sell more boats. They wanted it so that the owner would enjoy using his yacht, and you won't enjoy it if it doesn't work. And that's not the only example of quality in this shipyard. I spent some time with Corny de Bruyn, the head of mechanics, who made a very interesting comment. He said that quality is not only about using the right material or even about fitting it correctly. It's also about designing it in a way that's easy to use for the crew. I can't count how many times I've heard one captain telephone another captain of a similar yacht to ask where a particular valve or circuit breaker is, as they tend to be dotted around the yacht, sometimes in the most obscure places. On Moonen yachts, all of the valves are placed together and neatly labelled, so if you find one, you've found them all. The plumbing runs through a central tunnel below deck level and is beautifully laid out, so that once more everything is in the same place for the crew to easily locate and easily work on. But one of the most interesting things he showed me related to the hydraulic systems on board. The hydraulic pump, as you can see, is on a rubber mount to reduce noise and vibration. This is something that just about every yacht builder does. But Moonen also fit rubber dampeners to all of the hydraulic lines, so that when they're under pressure they won't rattle and vibrate around the yacht. Now this really is going the extra mile. The interior fit out too was fascinating to learn about. I'd noticed that there are really no paper drawings around the yachts, but rather laptops located on board each vessel in construction with 3D diagrams. Jos van Dongen, head of interiors, explained to me why this is. As you can imagine, using paper drawings makes it very difficult to cross-reference the location of wiring and plumbing on the yacht. So, by relying on 3D computer drawings, CNC cutting machines can cut cabinetry to absolutely perfect dimensions without workers having to then make adjustments to cater for inconvenient wire runs or air conditioning ducting. They really can do it once and do it right. One of the most fascinating conversations was with Victor though. He has such a rounded out knowledge and experience of yacht building at the highest level, and rightly pointed out that the paintwork can be one of the most difficult processes to get right, and has significant repercussions when it's wrong. He showed me that Moonen actually paint the yacht ahead of time during the construction process. This paint is considered a show coat and is there so that even the smallest of imperfections can be detected, things that would just not be visible until the paintwork's finished. This show coat is then sanded down, any imperfections made right, and then the yacht is ready for her final coat of paint. I'm familiar with many shipyards that erect a temporary covering for the yacht to control dust and humidity during this process. But Moonen also have a humidifier system in the shipyard to keep the humidity conditions at a perfect level, to reduce dust, and as Victor also pointed out, to keep the workforce fresh too. Moonen are so confident in the reliability of their products that they even offer a full 2-year warranty on their yachts. The Moonen 110 that's currently in construction is also a great example of some of the build quality that they have at Moonen. We'll be looking at it deck by deck, and I'm doing that for a reason that will become clear towards the end of the video. But let's start here with the sun deck. It's quite an unusual layout. You have this big expansive deck in front of the bridge, direct access here down to the bow. But what I found particularly unusual is that that bridge is an enclosed area. Many manufacturers of yachts of this size will do what's called a raised pilot house, which is a mid-level pilot house, which actually results in some compromises on both decks. But here they've got a lovely, spacious bridge area, all air conditioned, very comfortable. And let's take a look at the sun deck behind. As you can see, even with that large bridge area there, this is still a huge and spacious sun deck. You've got space here, actually on both sides, for the life rafts. Here, there's already the aperture ready for a very large crane unit, which will fit very nicely here, swing out. You have the choice of either putting a large tender laterally here, or an even bigger tender going long ways. It's foreseen that there'll be a bar area there, but pretty much whoever buys this yacht can configure this area in the way that best suits them and their needs, whether they want to have a jacuzzi tub or not, or a dining table. There's lots of flexibility in this area. Let's take a look at the main deck. So the main deck is a fairly traditional layout. You've got this lovely large aft deck area here, and then inside this will be a really spacious lounge area. Interesting to note as well that clearly they're preparing for full height windows in this area, so it will be an area that's flooded with natural sunlight. You'll have a galley to port, and then through here we have access to what will be a day head, and then the master stateroom. Interesting that the master stateroom is on a higher level. What that does is it enables the bed to be positioned in a place where you'll be able to have beautiful views all the way around of the ocean, something that most yacht owners really do appreciate. The real evidence of good quality yacht building though comes below deck, and that's what I particularly wanted to show to you. Below deck there'll be 4 staterooms, and already you can see the tracing and the lines in the floor for everything, each individual compartment. These zigzags that you can see here, this will be for the floor of the bathrooms, because clearly they're looking at underfloor heating for that area. There's nothing worse than getting out of bed and putting your naked foot onto cold marble, so that will be heated up. But that's not really what I wanted to show you in this area. What I particularly wanted to show you is details such as this stabilizer here. Now, this is an electric stabilizer, a lot quieter than a hydraulic stabilizer, but it also has another advantage over hydraulic stabilizers. When you have 0 speed capacity with stabilizer fins, the hydraulic units sometimes have a tendency of kind of paddling the yacht a little bit further forward so it can bump into your anchor chain when you're at anchor. Now that's noisy. It's also not great for the bow of the yacht to be rubbing up against an anchor chain. What this unit does is actually the blades flip through 180 degrees, and they actually paddle backwards so that you've always got a good angle between the anchor chain and the bow of the yacht. It's a little detail, but it makes such a big difference to the enjoyment of the yacht when you're on board. When I was preparing for this video, of course, I looked at the size of the lobby, the size of the cabins, and each one of the 4 staterooms below deck does seem to be a very nice size, certainly ample for this size of yacht. But what surprised me and really impressed me when I looked at the layout was not the size dedicated to the guest areas, but the amount of space dedicated to the crew. It's truly impressive. There's a proper, decent crew quarters with decent sized cabin space for each of the crew, a laundrette area with washer, dryer, a proper amount of space dedicated to the crew, but also a decent amount of space dedicated to the technical and mechanical areas on board. And that is what we're going to look at next. This is a proper, usable lazarette. I had a really interesting conversation with Victor when he was showing me this part of the yacht, and we were saying how many builders of this size super yacht, and I'd remind you this is a 110-foot yacht, many builders will opt to have a beach club here. Now they do that because beach clubs look fantastic, they make wonderful photographs, they make wonderful marketing material, but in reality, on this size of yacht, do they really get used? They're a little bit sacrificed, and we both agreed that many owners with beach clubs, when the yacht is of this size, will end up putting fenders in the beach club, using it for storage, putting a canoe in there, and never really using it the way it was intended to be used. The Moonen philosophy is that the way that they build their yachts should make sense. Every area should be used for the way it was designed to be used. And this is a wonderful, spacious area. We can see the water makers are there ready to be installed. You can put a dive compressor in here. You can have diving bottles in here. There's so much storage and also technical things that you can put because it's designed to be used as a lazarette, not as a beach club that then gets used for storage. Through here we have the engine room. And as you can see, everything's well thought out. There's space to do maintenance. There's all of the necessary things, plus more things such as this Alpha Laval. And if you watch many of these videos, you'll know that that's a fuel polishing unit that uses centrifuge to keep the fuel on board totally clean. This is an engine room the way that engine rooms are supposed to be built. Now I did say that there's a particular reason that I wanted to take you through all of that yacht. And the reason for that is that this unit is available for sale. Now that's interesting for 2 reasons. First of all, because if you're watching this video because you're considering taking a Moonen yacht, know that this is available. Delivery is scheduled for May of next year, so by the summer you can be on board with your pots, your pans, your bed linen, your beach towels, ready to go and to enjoy the summer. But the other reason that that's interesting is because it does display the financial strength of this shipyard. In 2019, Matthew and Louise Baxter bought the shipyard. Now they are 2 highly successful business people from Australia. And I have to say, they injected a whole new energy into the company and into the brand. I asked Victor whether it was a problem, the fact that they're based in Australia, and he said they love this business and they're very involved. As a matter of fact, if a buyer comes to the Moonen Shipyard, they are very happy to talk to the clients owner to owner. And that brings a dynamic and a value to the purchase experience that just can't be underestimated. I've always said that when you buy a new construction yacht, of course, you need to look at the product that you're buying, but also you need to look at the people, that is, who you're going to do business with. After my day here at the Moonen Shipyard, I'm completely convinced that they have an outstanding product, but they're also a company with a unique family feeling to them, owned by and managed by some pretty outstanding people.